They are in the diner.
Bro, they're throughout the entire movie, bro.
I forgot they were in the diner.
Literally, you spot them girls at almost every stop that they make, bro.
That's crazy. And then also Mickey and Donald, they're also headed to the Powerline concert.
And they're in the concert.
They're in the concert. Like, you gotta like pause the movie and like you gotta like look because they're there in the crowd. Like you know what I mean?
And Disney's done that with Goofy, Donald Duck, and Mickey Mouse. I mean, not to get off this movie, but they did that in The Little Mermaid. In The Little Mermaid. When they're like, it's like the one scene where they show like all the mermaids, Goofy, Donald, and Mickey, they're in the ocean, like in the water.
What are they doing?
Chilling, I guess. I don't know.
Chilling,
but
it's underwater, just breathing.
That whole song like kind of gives away the movie already, bro. Like it gives away like
all the people or what's everybody doing or where they're going.
The majority are heading to California, bro.
What about the dude that was going to jail? Was he?
Nah.
Where was he at? I didn't see him later on.
Nah, he was going his way.
He was going somewhere. He was going to the concert.
Did you see like the mafia car and the guy like in the trunk with the cement? Cemented to his feet like he's about to get killed.
Oh my God! What?
In that scene, I
gotta watch this again.
There's a car driving and a trunk pops open, and there's a guy tied up in the backseat with cement like cemented to his feet.
Oh my God!
Like,
I'm blind. I gotta watch.
I'm telling you.
See this movie like 100 times.
Bro, there's so many gems that you miss like when you're a kid, but when you're an adult, like yo. Cause they had to throw like adult like references in there.
Every kid movie they do, but when you're a kid, you ain't gonna catch on to those adult jokes. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna catch on them when you're a kid, but when you're an adult, you're like, oh, look at your kid. Like I hope they didn't understand that. Here's
another one that I feel like people like didn't catch. Right? So you know the scene where it's Goofy and Max are in the car, Bigfoot sleeping on the roof, and Goofy sleeping, and this is like the scene where he's like writing a song, writing a letter to
Roxanne,
and he's like, you know, sorry I lied, blah 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 blah, and he gets mad and hits the dashboard.
Yeah, and
the map falls out.
The whole map, the whole thing.
He makes the decision to change the map. You mean Goofy wakes up? You know how many cups of sugar
does it take to get to the moon? He's like
3.5, right? 3.5.
yeah.
So after he did that, he rips up the letter and he throws it out the window, and a piece of the letter gets stuck on the branch, and it says, "I lied, bro." And I
caught that. Yeah, I seen that. I like it. I think that's so.
And you start to think like, man, like the whole time, like it's like he didn't know how to communicate with his dad.
He didn't.
Even like a couple seconds before that, when they're talking about like the AB, like the alphabet soup.
Yeah.
And when he hands in the cup, it's
hi dad soup.
It says hi dad. And like, man, like when I watched it a year ago, bro, and I'm like, you know, I'm a newly dad. You feel me?
Yeah.
When I watched it a year ago and I saw that, I'm like, man, like, even though Max was a jerk to his dad, bro, I almost understood him too, though, because like I think we've all struggled with growing up, especially like going to high school. You struggle with your identity, like who are you? Who are you gonna become? And me not ever having that relationship with my dad, it was almost like, man, that hey dad was more like I love you.
Yeah,
because that's how Goofy took it.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that like he didn't know how to talk to his dad, and he hands, man, it's just like, bro, even you already know that's my daughter's favorite movie.
Yes.
And she every day we're watching it now. Ever since I put her onto it, she knows the songs. She knows the
best, like bro, literally probably the best songs in Disney
every time
animation.
that scene comes on, bro, like it pulls my heartstrings, bro. Like oh man, like I hope my kids don't ever feel that way, you know. But it's like Goofy is the prime example of what a dad should be, bro. It's just like
and he literally is, and I think that's cool how they even brought that whole concept with just a single dad doing what he's supposed to do for his son, and his son is a teenager, and his son in the movie is your typical teenager. You know, your kids when they're younger, they love you, they want to be around you, they want to do stuff with you, and then it sucks because a lot of the times a lot of parents, they don't appreciate that, and they don't realize they're gonna miss it later, because once kids they become teenagers like Max, it's like when they become teenagers, they want nothing to do with their parents.
Right.
And it don't even be nothing the parents did or what they do. It's just they become teenagers and they just either want to just be with their friends, or if you mean to me, being with my parent isn't cool anymore. And especially when it comes to Max and Goofy, because Goofy's a goof. You know what I mean? So obviously, Max, like you said, his identity thing, and even with the dream or the nightmare, actually, in the beginning of the movie, you know what I'm saying? It's him transforming into Goofy, and you know what I mean? And then, like, yeah, you know what I mean? So he thinks he's gonna become that. You know what I'm saying? That's what he thinks like his future is. And it doesn't have to be that way. That's not what you're going to be. Just because your dad is a goof doesn't mean you're gonna be a goof. I mean, you're a goof, but you're not goofy.
He's fearing that he's gonna become that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly what he needed to become, because at the end of the movie, he was himself. Like he learned that lesson, and Goofy's like, you just gotta own up to it. You know what I'm saying?
That whole line thing's a right example.
Yeah, crazy. Man, and realizing like, when the car blows up and he comes through the roof. He comes to the roof and he's like, this is my dad. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
enchanté, mon ami.
You got the coolest dad, dog.
Like, man, and he survived that. Like, what? Your dad is the best, bro. What are you talking about? Like, that's what I'm saying. And and the whole thing with him lying to Roxanne I wish he never did that. And I don't like that Roxanne was like, oh, it's okay. I'm sure I can find somebody else. Like, what? Damn, girl, like that quick?
No,
like,
they had to spice it up, though.
I know.
It had to happen because
they had to make him lie.
That made the movie.
It did make the movie. It did.
You know what I'm saying?
It sucks. But then it's like, then Max had to lie, right? And it's just, you shouldn't have to lie about going on a trip with your father. Like, it's like, that's not a bad thing.
And you know what I realized, too? That Max and PJ, they're friends, but they actually weren't friends with Bobby, bro. Because you would think they were from the beginning, but first of all, he made him pay for the, even though it was a can of cheese.
Need funged, bro.
Yeah, right. Cheddar!
Cheddar with it!
Right? But at the end of the movie, when the concert's going on, he was like, that goof kid ain't there. Like, he said it like we're not friends.
Exactly.
And then like he retracts like, oh, that's my boy, when he did see him on screen, bro.
I say that every time.
So I noticed that they weren't really friends.
Acquaintances.
Yeah. Bobby was just that kid that he was just cool with everyone, but he didn't really have friends.
Yeah,
I mean, would you have been friends with Bobby back in the day? I know I wouldn't have.
Bobby was cool though.
I think because
Robert Zimmerowski.
Yeah, because I think Bobby would have been the type of friend that my mom wouldn't want me to hang out with.
He's the one that gets you in trouble. Obviously.
Yeah.
Because like even when they were trading off for, they were already. It was like a business deal. It wasn't even like a friendship. You know what I mean? It was like they had to go meet up Bobby. Bobby's the one that brought all of the TV, the equipment, the camera, that did everything. You know what I mean? He put it all together. But it was basically just a business deal. You know what I mean? They gave him Cheese Whiz, the spread. You know what I mean? Whatever. I guess that was his price.
We all know what that was.
But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? As adults, we know how they're trying to, what they're trying to make that scene. But it's still funny. You know what I mean? It's hilarious. And yeah, so I said the same thing, and then you don't see him the rest of the movie. You know what I mean? Max runs into PJ later on during the camping trip.
But they're boys, though.
But they're, you know what I mean? Like,
because
they're boys.
Even though, like, Pete's a crappy dude, him and Goofy are friends.
Yeah,
because I think they're complete opposites.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, I lost my train of thought.
Pete and Goofy, like, they're they're friends. It's weird.
Yeah, but they're like PJ and Max, they're friends. You feel me? They're boys.
Yeah.
They're like brothers. You feel me? Because, and in hindsight, like, I think PJ wish he had more of a dad like Goofy. You know what I'm saying? Because even in the beginning, like, oh man, my dad's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and Max,
my dad's gonna squash me like a bug.
The only thing Max was worried about that he didn't really get his chance with Roxanne.
Yeah.
Well, at least he didn't think he was gonna get that chance. He wasn't worried about
what? And then this is what I'm saying too, because Pete is a jerk. All right. But once again, he's a father. He is there. He ain't the best father. He's not the nicest father. But sometimes under your thumb, Goof. Sometimes you gotta have some rules with your kids and some strictness. So I get that part where you're trying to tell Goofy.
I think Disney gave that balance, bro.
Yeah. So